Hi everybody, welcome to day 2 of week 2 of our unit, Engaging with Our Community. On day 2, we're going to continue learning about the Baldizzi family, including information on what their life was like in New York after coming from Italy. Before starting, let's talk about what the flow will be for today. First, you'll have an opening do now activity with a see, think, and wonder exercise. Then you'll have a before reading activity, which will be discussion based. You'll think back to what you learned about the Baldizzi's story on day 1, and using the chat, you will share with your group and then add on to each other's statements. Then you'll have your into the text moment. Teachers, note that in the note for teachers, you're going to have the link for a specific set of instructions for the into the text activity. Then we will do the after the reading, and finally a closing and connecting. Teachers, note that for this video, we are going to facilitate the after the reading activity as well as the closing connecting, the extend the learning. Also, please note always that you have below here your notes for teachers with some additional tips and instructions for how to implement. So let's go ahead and get started. Again, day 2, week 2 of engaging with our community. Our essential question is the same. How can where we live affect our health? So remember, a focus for this week is on health. And can somebody at this point read below in the pink box our lesson objectives? Teachers, you can pause the video and give students some time to read those out loud. Thank you for reading our lesson objectives. Our first is to make logical inferences from the close reading of a text. Our second lesson objective is to summarize key ideas and details in a text. So using the information we read, we're going to come to some big ideas about the Baldizzi family and their experience. We're also going to be able to summarize or tell the most important information from what we learned today. Teachers, at this point, you can pause the video and facilitate the opening and do now activity, as well as the before reading and the into the text. Remember, for the into the text moment, you have here your discussion questions. You can turn students' attention to this. You can have students preview these. Also, it might help their focus as they read the text closely. You also have your link to a recording as usual. When you pick this video back up, we will begin with our after the reading activity. Okay, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed learning more about the Baldizzi family's experience as they started their life in New York. Let's start the after the reading activity. Today's after the reading is all about visualization and getting a little creative. What we're going to do is listen to a video of Josephine talking about her daily life in the tenement. And then, using the information that she tells us, we are going to draw a floor plan of the apartment, and we're going to label the different rooms and different objects in the apartment that she mentions. After we complete the floor plan, and just point out here that this is an example of a floor plan, so this is similar to what you will create. After you have drawn your floor plan, you're going to do some writing practice to explain what you included in your design and why. And this is going to be what we'll use to help us structure our writing, and we'll practice this together. The first step is to do our floor plan. Teachers, I'm just going to show some of the applications you might try to use. You might have something else in mind. These are some that could be helpful. The first is Google Drawings. This will allow you to draw shapes. Drag here if you need to. You can add text if you want to do the labels. You can add additional shapes inside of these shapes for the objects. You can also change up colors, of course, and adjust the fonts. So this is one option, Google Drawings. The other option is a Google Jamboard. Similar, you can have shapes that you use to create the rooms, and then to also, if you'd like to, add objects inside of them, and text box to label. The big difference between Jamboard and Google Drawings, both of them allow you to draw pretty clearly and easily. Jamboard is more collaborative, so all students can log on to this Jamboard together and work together to create the floor plan if you'd like them to be more collaborative in this activity. So at this point, we'll pause the video. Teachers, you'll go back to your after the reading. I'll show you here how you can click on this link and open up to Josephine Baldizzi's story. It's going to be below on this page. So you'll listen to her story first and then begin on your floor plans. And when you start the video back up, we'll go through writing out the explanation. Okay, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed creating your floor plans. Now that you have those done, we are going to go through how to write out your explanation of why you did the design that you did. So in your written explanation, there are a few parts to include. One is the location of the rooms, the size of the rooms, and then any other details that you added to the diagram. So let's do some examples, and I'll show you some vocabulary that you can use as you write this response. So focusing on the location of the rooms, here's just some terms and phrases that you might use as you write out your response. You, of course, can use things that are not on this list, but if you're feeling stuck with how to begin, how to explain the location of the rooms, this might help you. Next to, beside, behind, in the front, in the back, across from, again, just a few examples. Here's a way a sentence could be structured using these phrases. I drew the across from the. So you're going to take this time and discuss and explain the location of the rooms in your writing. Teachers, you can pause this video and give students some time to first write the information about the location of the rooms in their floor plan. Okay, let's move to the second part of our written explanation. That's going to focus on the size of the rooms. Again, we'll talk about some vocabulary and phrasing you could use to help you start your writing about this. So some phrases you could use: larger than, smallest, compared to, tiny, enormous. These are just suggestions. If you have your own language for describing the size of the rooms, that's fine. These are suggestions in case you're feeling stuck. Again, a way a sentence could look using these phrases and vocabulary. Compared to the was a smaller room. So teachers, at this moment, go ahead and pause the video and give students some time to describe in their writing the size of the rooms. Okay, let's move to the last part of our written response, and that will be any other details that you added to the diagram, anything besides just the rooms. So here's how you could phrase something like that. I added a in this room. So as you talk about the location of the rooms and their size, you can also add an additional sentence saying what else you added besides just the size of the room. Any objects that were inside of the room that you heard Josephine Baldizzi mention in her story. So let's pause, and teachers, give students some time to complete the written response here. Okay, thank you. That's going to conclude our after the reading activity. To end, we are going to do our closing and connecting. We'll go through the extend the learning activity. Teachers, note that extend the learning for this session is optional. You could choose from the other options for the closing connecting, but we'll do an example in case it's helpful for students. It is recommended here below in the notes for teachers, but it is not mandatory. In the extend the learning for today, it says, today some people are designing apartments and furniture for apartments that are smaller than the Baldizzi's apartment. Watch this video. So we're going to watch the video, and then we're going to respond to this prompt. What do you think of the micro apartment? That's the small apartment we're about to see in the video. Would you live there? Explain. So teachers, at this moment, you can go to the link here. This is going to pull up YouTube, and it will automatically start this video about these micro apartments, micro units, which mean very small apartments where people live. So go ahead, start that video for your students, and when we come back, we will go through the reflection together. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the video of the micro apartments. We are going to look at our prompts to start our reflection. What do you think of the micro apartment? Would you live there? Explain. So let me show you how you could start this response. I created here a collection of our closing and connecting activities. As you remember, these were the statistics that we looked up in day 1 of this week. In day 2, let me think about my response. I think that the micro apartments are very interesting. It would be difficult to live there if you had a lot of stuff. You would have to keep everything organized. I think that I could live there because I don't like having a lot of things. So that's just one way you could write out your thinking in response to the micro apartments. What did you think about them, and would you want to live there? Thank you. This concludes our session for today, and we'll see each other for day 3.